Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to today's coffee chat. Mm. Well, here we are, the second week of September, which means it's back to school for many of the little ones, back to work after vacation for many of us. And so, yes, that means back to packing lunches. So that's what I've got on my mind today, packed lunches. Particularly packed lunches for the kiddos. That's what I've got on my mind today because I've been having a lot of conversations with clients around packing lunches for their kids. Very apropos this time of year. What I see a lot of is that kids really love having the exact same lunch packed every day. And hey, that can make it easier for us when we've got a gazillion things to do every day and get everybody out the door. It can be simpler to pack the same thing every day. However, what I see in so many families, I've been supporting families with picky eaters for 11 years now. What I see a lot is that kids are fed the same favorite foods at breakfast, the same favorite foods at lunch, the same favorite foods at snacks. And the only time that challenging different foods come out is at dinner. And so it's really no wonder why dinner is such a disaster. So one way to help make dinner go more smoothly and help kids open up to the possibility of trying new foods, be more comfortable with having new foods in front of them, is for new foods to arrive not just at dinner time, but at other times of the day. And so that's a great way to use packed lunches is to have new foods arrive for them at packed lunch so that they become accustomed to the idea of new foods being presented to them. Now, I'm all about kids making sure they have enough nutrition to meet their nutrition needs. And so I would never recommend anything that would get in the way of kids meeting their needs. I'm not recommending sending a completely 100% new lunch and then the kid freaks out and eats nothing and has an awful day at school. Don't go there. Often when I present this option, people automatically leap to worst case scenario, and that's what I just want to call out right now. That is not where I'm going. What I recommend are more gentle, loving, delicate ways, but still moving kids out of being stuck in a rut, out of being rigid, which so many kids, particularly younger kids, but definitely older kids too, who get that label of being picky, are really rigid in their food likes. So here are 3 gentle ways of using packed lunches to get them out of that rut. The first is if your child has a particular sandwich that they like every single day, share that sandwich, prepare that sandwich in a different vehicle. So for example, say your child loves, ham and cheese sandwich on white bread. Say that's what they want every single day. You know, it's the healthier white bread with the whole grains in there and the whole, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a ham and cheese sandwich on white bread. Start packing, sometimes ham and cheese on white bread, but sometimes pack ham and cheese in a pita pocket. Sometimes ham and cheese on some crackers. Sometimes ham and cheese in a little tortilla roll up. That way they're still getting their ham and cheese, but they're becoming accustomed to seeing it on these different pieces of bread, these different starches, these different presentations of it. Yes, sometimes they're going to pick it apart and just eat the ham and cheese from the middle, but that's okay, because that's still teaching them that life skill of how to modify a food if you've been presented with it when you're out and about or something and you don't like one component of it. A lot of kids naturally will learn how to take out the tomato from the burger that they don't want, but other kids just don't know how to do that. They just kind of melt down. And so sharing their favorite sandwich fillings, but in different vehicles, different carbs, that starts to teach them, oh, I can take the ham and cheese out of the pita pocket and eat it if I don't like the pita, that sort of thing. So they're still getting the nutrition that they need, but in a little different format. And we're starting to introduce that concept of difference for them. So that's one way. A second way is to add one tiny little serving of challenging food in their lunch. Now, I'm not recommending taking out any other familiar foods, so they still will get the same nutrition from the familiar foods, but they're being presented with one tiny little serving of a challenging food. Again, they're probably not going to eat the challenging foods, so that's why I recommend one tiny little serving. And also, we're not replacing anything else, so we're not wanting to add a whole much bigger lunch suddenly. But, you know, if they have their little lunch box, you've got one tiny little serving of a challenging food, that can fit in there. Leftovers are perfect for this because the reality is they're not going to likely eat the challenging foods. So you don't want to spend a lot of time going to a lot of effort to make it. But leftovers are perfect. For example, maybe you had broccoli last night and your little one still hasn't eaten broccoli. Save one little broccoli spear from dinner last night and put it in their lunch the next day. Or maybe it was chicken. You had a chicken dish, your child doesn't really like meat, they're not into chicken yet, so you put one tiny little bite of chicken in their lunch the next day. Keep doing that, and again, you're just getting them accustomed to the idea of challenging foods arriving at different times other than dinner. As the saying goes, it takes 10 to 20 to 30 times of seeing a new food before your child will eat it. And so now, not only did they see broccoli last night, but they're seeing broccoli today. Two presentations in the bag. You're that much closer to the 10 to 20 to 30 times of your child seeing that food. So you're that much closer to them eating it. That's opportunity number 2, or strategy number 2. Strategy number 3 is I love those wide mouth thermoses. They are such an amazing idea for kids. Because what they allow you to do is if there's an entree at dinner that your child likes, that is, I'm assuming, a warm entree, you can warm it up and serve some leftovers for them in that wide mouth thermos the next day for packed lunch. Yes, it's the same food, so at first it's like, what? I thought you were talking about introducing new foods and you're just talking about having them have one of their favorite foods already. Yes, but this is your child starting to understand that those foods don't just happen to be dinner foods and they're not getting their rigid lunch, but other foods can happen at lunchtime and they're still a familiar food. So for this one, you don't pack their ham and cheese sandwich or whatever, you pack their favorite entree that they often have at dinner for lunch the next day. I don't know, maybe you make a mac and cheese with the cauliflower pureed in there, and that's one of their favorite dinners. So make a little extra, get a wide mouth thermos, serve that for lunch the next day. Well, that's a cool way to introduce a new food, a new concept of different foods can happen at lunch, and they can be good foods that you already like. Awesome idea. So in summary, what I recommend is to not always serve exactly the same lunch every day. Mix it up, get them accustomed to the idea of different foods arriving, but do it in a gentle way that doesn't risk them meeting their nutrition needs. A couple of options are to serve a favorite sandwich on different carbs, to serve one tiny little bite of a challenging food in addition to their favorite foods, or to get a wide mouth thermos and have a favorite dinner entree arrive at lunchtime. Those are my recommendations for helping kiddos get out of the rut. That's what's on my mind today. If you like today's video, let me know. Click the little thumbs up button. I do join you here every Thursday morning for a cup of coffee and a chat about what's on my mind regarding food and nutrition. I want to make sure that you know when I have a new video, that you know you're invited into my kitchen. Click the subscribe button below and the little notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. Have a great, great week, and I will see you back here next Thursday morning.